Okay, let's talk about the Pixel 5 and the Pixel 4a 5G. These are two new devices that are being launched by Google shortly, but I was sent two metal blanks, one for the Pixel 5, one for the Pixel 4a 5G, and I was told that these are most assuredly exact to the shape and size of the actual devices. These are used to make like cases and accessories for the phones. So I'm inclined to believe it, but this, you know what? Let's just get right into it. The physical shape and stuff, because I noticed a couple things I wanted to talk about. So the Pixel 5 is very similar in shape and size to the Pixel 4 from last year. It's actually slightly shorter than the Pixel 4. It's got the same kind of button configuration on the right, so sleep wake up top, and then your volume rocker underneath that. And up top, there's no headphone jack or anything. It's got the same kind of microphone cutout. And then on the left, you got your SIM tray, obviously. And then on the bottom, same kind of cutouts. So two speaker type cutouts and then a USB-C. But on the back is where you'll notice the biggest differences. The Pixel 5 has a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor again. It's something that was removed from the Pixel 4 where they depended on facial recognition up front for logins, but they've implemented it again. And this is something I've always enjoyed. I've always liked the position and the speed and the reliability of a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor. I like it. The other thing I noticed, and this is a bit strange, is that the curvature on the back of this metal blank phone is very similar to the curvature on the Pixel 4a. And this is a plastic-backed phone, but this type of curvature is actually quite difficult to do on a glass and aluminum frame phone, right? Normally to get this type of curvature, you need to use plastics. So I don't think that the Pixel 5 is going to be a glass and metal phone. I think it's going to be a plastic phone just like the Pixel 4a. So we'll get into the internals and pricing in a little bit, but just keep that in mind. The whole concept of a cheaper material, cheaper as in cost, right? Cheaper materials to make the Pixel 5 compared to the Pixel 4 from last year. Now, under the 4a 5G, this is very similar in design aesthetic to all three of these, right? The 5, the 4a 5G, and the 4a. So this is a big phone. This is larger than the Pixel 4 and the 4a. The sides and the bottom don't have any surprises, but the top has a headphone jack. Not that it's a surprise, but I'm glad that it's still there, just like the 4a. So the two kind of mid-range phones from Google this year will have headphone jacks as far as I'm concerned. Now I want to talk about the internals because I feel like this is where a more important conversation is to be had. So let's talk about the Pixel 5 first. This is reportedly running a Snapdragon 765G, a 5G capable chip from Qualcomm. And this was controversial. This is a chip that is not super high end, right? It's not 800 series Snapdragon. And because it's kind of mid-range or like upper mid-range, it's a weird message, right? Pixels have normally been synonymous with high prices and relatively high-end internals. They've always run 800 series chips in the Pixels. So this is different. And I think that this is a really, really smart move. So here's the thing. Ever since they've existed, right? The whole purpose of Pixels lineup, the whole reason why this product line even exists is to make money. It's to make Google money, right? Pixels aren't here to bring world peace or anything like that. They're here to make as much money for Google as possible. And if you just rewind time a little bit, think about the Nexus phones. Those phones were amazing. I loved them. You guys probably loved them. The whole tech community loved Nexus phones. They were inexpensive, they were really good, and they were like enthusiast-focused phones that a lot of people could get behind. The thing is, that whole Nexus line just didn't make money. It didn't make money. It didn't make enough money for Google to keep it around. If it did, we'd be looking at Nexus phones today. But clearly, Nexus phones weren't profitable enough. The whole Nexus line wasn't profitable enough. So they moved on to Pixels. And for the past 3 or 4 years, Google's been trying to make money with Pixels. Every year, there's like a slight variation in their strategy, but it's usually not particularly effective. And now, I think this is Google's whole new shift. Their whole lineup right now. Look at the 4A, the 4A 5G, and the 5. All three of these phones are going to be not super premium, not super expensive, but they're kind of targeting something it's different. There's so many phones out there with Snapdragon 865. It's a half dozen of the major brands out there are putting these flagship phones with top-end 800 series chips every single year. And for Google, it's like, why do you want to compete with that? Like, why do you want to put these phones out there and compete with these Chinese brands that are they're putting out like $300 phones, $200 phones that have crazy powerful chipsets in them, right? They got ads and crap in them, but they're doing it in a way that makes it very difficult for Google to make a compelling product. So I think this is a much smarter move. You make stuff that's just a little bit different, and the focus is on their software and their cameras, but that is what Pixels should be known for going forward. Not trying to match, hardware specs with everyone else with their Snapdragon 800 series stuff. It's super competitive in that space. Let them fight it out. Focus on what you're good at, which is software, and I think that is what they're going to go for in the near future. And I really like what they're doing. Now, the screens on these two devices look to have a single hole punch camera, so just like the Pixel 4a, but the Pixel 5, because it only has that single hole punch camera, looks like it's going to lose Project Soli, like the radar tech. It's slightly disappointing because I feel like it was kind of neat, but at the same time, it's to be expected. If they're going to go with this type of trajectory, this path of, focusing on the important stuff and pricing your stuff at a reasonable price point, I think it's got to shed stuff like Project Soli. Okay, pricing. So we know that the Pixel 4a 5G, I think Google's come out and saying that this thing is a $499 phone. And the Pixel 5 is supposed to be coming between $600 and $700. So my guess is right in the middle, $650. And this is both of them with 128 gigs of storage. So here's the thing. As I sit here doing this video, I feel like mid-range chipsets are smart. They're so much smarter than trying to compete with everyone else, at least for Google. But that's just me. I like this stuff. I like to see mid-range stuff, and I don't really need super expensive chipsets. I don't feel like it's something that I've ever really taken advantage of. But what do you guys think? Like, when you look at these phones, when you look at what Google's offering now, is this what you like? Like, do you want this direction for Google, or do you wish that their Pixel line went, do you want them to have flagship stuff at more expensive pricing, but maybe done better than they have in the past? Okay, let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.